Let's first take a look at some general things here. The clever speed on the average is 116, about 117. This may be a bit lower than what you see with the TrackMan. This is because the way we calculate. But this line here shows the elite man's average maximum, including the professional, teaching professionals, and then college players.
Which one?
This line here.
Oh, okay.
So you are generating a bit more than that. And then for your height, when it is normalized to your body height, then still you generate a bit more speed than typical, which is good. But one thing here is that overall, this is the beginning of the backswing, and then this is the top of backswing, and then zero is impact. But you are using about 1100 milliseconds for the swing from the beginning of the backswing to impact, which is a bit slow.
Okay.
It's because your backswing is slow. And if you can handle the club, then faster backswing is a lot better than slow backswing.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can handle the club, yeah.
As long as you can control the club
Right.
head. So when you have a slow backswing, then generally in the transition, you have a simultaneous transition of all the body parts instead of having sequential transition. Because you go slow and then suddenly try to turn in the downswing direction, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also generally when you have a slow backswing, then the backswing and downswing are not well connected. So the backswing is important, not just in the sense that you have to bring the arms and club to this position here, but the quality of backswing is actually really important.
Right.
Because depending on how you move in the backswing, that prepares the muscles. So in the backswing, if you use more upper body driven backswing, the lower body is not well prepared. Then on the way down, you tend to use the upper body. If you're using a more lower body driven backswing, then on the way down, you will also use lower body more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So generally what you do in the backswing basically prepares your body. And so the quality of backswing motion is really important. Okay? But when you have slow backswing, it may be peaceful, but you're not really preparing your body that way.
Okay.
So, and my preference is, or my recommendation is to have at least like about 900 milliseconds for the overall swing time. That means you need to shorten maybe about 200 milliseconds, so 0.2 seconds. So, if possible, then try to have a faster backswing. Right. Then, the advantage of faster backswing is when you have a faster backswing, then you have to actively slow this down. With that, you have a more ballistic feel here. Yeah. Okay? That prepares your muscles really well. So your muscles can generate a lot larger force that way when you have active deceleration.
It's like you're activating the on the neurons.
Yeah.
Right?
So the two main types of muscle contraction is concentric contraction and eccentric. Concentric contraction means the muscle is shortening.
Like a curve, bicycle.
Yeah. Eccentric contraction means the muscle is lengthening while contracting.
Okay.
So particularly this eccentric contraction happens when you try to slow down the body. When your body is moving that way, your muscle is pulling this way to slow this down. But still, so the muscle is pulling this way, but still body is going the other way while slowing down, right? The muscle has to lengthen. So when you have active deceleration of the body motion, that means you use this eccentric contraction. When you use eccentric contraction, you can generate large force a lot easily. So your muscles generate more force in eccentric mode than concentric mode.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but when you have active backswing, then it will give you a slowdown of the backswing motion, and then the same muscles are used in moving the body in the downswing direction. So the muscle is elongated and then going to shortening. It's called the stretch shortening cycle. That's the ideal way of using the muscles. Okay. So speeding up your backswing is more beneficial. Okay. Now let's go to the top view here. So this large rectangle here, this is the swing plane. which is calculated from the club head motion. This is the target line here. So your swing plane is aligned outward, into out. And on the average, this is about 6 degrees. This angle here.
Yeah.
And then this is a small rectangle here. This is the hand motion plane. So from the motion of the hands. Okay. And then this is also aligned toward the right side here.
Okay.
So in your case, both the club head and your hands are moving to the right. Okay.
Is it good for them to match?
Generally, having these in the same direction is better in terms of the shape of the swing. Okay. So at least these are in the similar directions here. So directions are matching, but both are biased toward the right side here.
Right.
So then you must have either hitting up the ball good, or you have to use a lot of draw spin. Yeah.
Mm.
Now,
What is the smallest one? The one. Oh, there's 3 ones, right?
now this one is the force plate.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mm-mm. But now, then at impact, actually, your club head is moving either toward the target, or you have a tendency of slightly leftward motion here. I noticed that when you initially hit the ball went to the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You bounced it back to the screen, right?
Yeah.
So that means with the plane is aligned rightward, in order to hit the ball leftward, then you are hitting up quite a bit
Yeah.
here. Okay? So, but at least since the hand motion plane and club head motion plane are parallel here, so when you throw the hands in certain directions, the club head also tends to move in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for direction control when the directions are matched. And then when we go to the this view here, so this is aligned along the swing plane here. So this straight line here, this is your swing plane,
Okay.
which is calculated from the club head motion here. So then in the backswing, you tend to move the club head a bit higher here, and then coming down. This is typical shallowing motion. This is good strategy. Both of you have good shallowing strategy. So some cases they go flat here and they try to lift this up here. But when that happens, it's hard to do a good shallowing here.
Right.
So rather you go a bit higher, and then natural looping motion and coming down. That's a good shallowing strategy. But the only thing here is later you will see that. Let me go back to the initial view here. So here in the downswing 7 and 8, 7 is when the lead arm becomes parallel to the ground in the frontal view.
Right.
8 is when the club becomes vertical in the frontal view.
Okay.
So if we go to the frontal view here, so at 7, the lead arm becomes parallel to the ground. And then a bit later, you will see that the club becomes vertical here. This is 8. These two are really close to each other. That means you are letting the club move away from your body early. It's because you don't have enough wrist cock in the first place.
Lag. So you don't have that much lag. Have you noticed that?
Oh, I didn't know it made a difference.
It makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference.
In theory, you can generate a lot more speed.
What's his name? Drew Cooper? Or what's
Drew Cooper, yeah.
He has a lot of lag.
Mm.
You know the guy?
Yeah,
He's pretty big, so he has good body size, but at the same time, he has good rhythm. So
My club is more like
you see, in your case, you are turning your shoulders this much here because you are relatively skinny.
Is that good amount of torture?
This is actually too much turn here.
Too much turn?
Yeah, this promotes a slower backswing because you are relying on the range of motion here instead of a rhythmic motion here.
Yeah. It's not like John Rahm.
So this is too much turn, but you don't have much wrist cock here in the first place. So on the way down, naturally the club will stay away from your body because you don't have much wrist cock here, and then turn. Then 7 and 8 will be quite close to each other. So instead of turning the shoulder this much here, you can turn the shoulder a bit less, but keep enough wrist cock here.
Right.
So it's okay to let the club head go down. That's okay as long as you can control it.
Oh, overswinging?
If it's still it's an overswing, but the club moves relatively parallel to your swing plane.
Right.
All you need to do is just reverse the direction and then let it
Yeah,
go.
as long as it doesn't go
Yeah.
off plan. it doesn't-
As long as it doesn't really show a crossover alignment or too much intentional layoff,
Right.
then it's okay. So when, because we have swing plane here, which is ball to a midsection of your trunk, this is typical swing plane here. Then when you have overswing, but if the club stays relatively parallel to the swing plane,
Right.
then it's just a matter of go here and then reverse the direction and then let it go.
Yeah.
So this motion becomes really simple.
Gotcha.
There's nothing you need to control, a lot. So as long as you have an active motion here, slight ballistic motion here, so go up and then throw here, it's just reversing the direction and then let it go, right? So don't be afraid of going a bit more. And no need to turn this much here,
Okay.
your shoulders here. Because at this stage, you have to actively slow down your body. So when you have a faster backswing, then at this stage, you're actually slowing down the body motion and then while still letting it go.
Yeah.
So the amount of time makes it slower?
So because he's turning a bit slow,
Because I have to like,
Yeah.
because I'm loaded with my body, my club's still here, so then I slow down.
Yeah.
So, and I can feel that when I swing sometimes.
so but when you have active leg action here in the backswing, when you start the backswing, active leg action and throw and using the momentum, let it go all the way here, then you don't have to turn that much. Rather,
Right.
more toward the later part of the backswing, you're slowing down the body actively. And then from there, throw.
Gotcha.
So it becomes more rhythmic. Okay? But currently, you're turning quite a bit, it's a bit slow, and then we'll go there and then try to go at once. That's why your transition period is really short.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go back to the swing plane here. So generally, the shape of the cleavage motion relative to the swing plane, this is reasonable.
That's reasonable?
Now let's go to the pelvis motion here.
Yeah.
The lower one, this graph shows a rotational motion of the pelvis. Upper one shows a more, linear motion. So this one shows rotation. This one shows forward, backward motion, toward, away, and the up and down motion.
Okay.
The red line in the lower graph here, this is the rotational motion. Naturally, because you are relatively skinny and tall, so you tend to turn the pelvis quite a bit here.
Okay.
5 is when the pelvis rotation is completed. Then the pelvis starts rotating in the opposite direction. 6 is top of backswing. But between 5 and 6, again, this time gap is not that long here. This gap is called the transition phase.
Yeah.
Because normally, the pelvis changes the direction first, and then thorax, shoulders, arms, and clubs sequentially change the direction.
Is that supposed to be a larger? Like,
Yeah, a bit
so
elongated.
if I have my backswing here and I'm like this.
Not that one.
No. Okay.
Rather in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So in the backswing, when you have active backswing, then upper body is still turning this way.
Right.
Your pelvis slows down. Then what happens? Slows down, and then pelvis changes direction, but this part is still going in the opposite direction.
Oh yeah.
With
It's not
that,
going
you're
forward.
generating the stretch. That's the better
Yeah,
strategy.
There's a sequence that.
Instead of go here and then try to intentionally open this. This way, you can also increase the X factor, the separation, but this is not a good way to do that. So when this happens, that means your backswing is poor.
So what should it look like?
More this way. Using this motion, this momentum, you're creating good separation here.
Okay.
And then also let the club go enough so you have a reasonable
Okay.
cocking here.
Yeah.
A big portion of the speed is coming from the wrist here, wrist and the forearm here. But if you limit your wrist to cock here, then you are using your body a lot, try to swing hard. You're putting a lot of effort. But when you use the wrist effectively here, then go here and then let it go as if you are shaking off something,
Right.
then you can add more speed. So your swing can be a lot more efficient. Okay. So the
More pelvis turn.
no, the pelvis turn is large enough.
Oh, but I need to hold it for longer?
So you have to increase the time between the pelvis transition point, which is 5, and then top of action 6.
Oh, he needs to start turning this earlier.
No.
Okay.
Just to hold it and then let the upper body turn more.
Okay.
But then, in your case, because you are initially turning quite a bit here, instead, when you have a rhythmic motion, more
Right.
ballistic motion here, then go and then coming down here, then this will turn actually less.
Okay. Okay.
But right now, you try to turn as much as possible here, and then try to pull it down. That's why so the end of pelvis rotation is actually delayed. That's why between the pelvis transition point and the top of action, that time gap is short here. But you need to elongate that. That's called the transition phase. During the transition phase, a lot of things are happening. You're using the ground to prepare for the body and they're ready for the downswing, and then finally going down here. But if this is too short, then everything is turning at the same time.
So it was 5 the end of pelvis rotation? Okay. And that doesn't mean that you have to rotate earlier. But
So
it's-
pelvis just slows down and then starts the turning this way slightly, but because the upper part is still turning in the backward direction, with that you have an elongated transition phase. So in order to have elongated transition phase, you have to have an active body rotation and then the active slowdown. So for you, the range of motion is not a problem. You have too much range of motion. But instead of relying on the range of motion, you have to use more rhythmic motion so that you have an active deceleration.
Okay. Yeah.
And then this is at impact. Again, you are turning left a bit more than man's average here.
My left hip?
On the left, at impact, you're turning toward the target. So both cases, to the right and then to the left, you're turning more than man's average here. So you are using more range of motion. But if you have a good balance of range of motion and the muscle actions, you don't have to turn this much. Okay, so the key is rhythmic motion, rhythmic and the somewhat ballistic motion.
Yeah.
And then the blue line is showing the lateral tilt here. The pelvis is moving like this. So in the backswing, the right side stays higher and the left side stays lower. So you have a lateral tilt, left tilt. In the downswing, it goes in the opposite direction here. So this shows a good motion there.
Good one.
The blue one here. Yeah. And then this blue one is up and down motion. So you are dropping your body and then going up here. So this, you also have a good up and down motion too. Yeah. So in general, the pelvis motion is good, but you need to shorten the backswing. So make it a bit faster, and then have a rhythmic active slowdown. Okay. And then this is a thorax motion here, and
Where's
the
the thorax? Sorry.
chest here. The red line shows in which direction your thorax is inclining or the leaning. When the red line is negative here, that means that you are leaning away. You tend to lean away all the time.
Okay.
So in your case, you tend to lean all the way.
Wait, lean away.
That's why I hit it off the toe.
So you are leaning away like this. But the better motion is that during the backswing, you actually should have a little bit of a reverse pivot motion here. This range of motion is correlated to club
By
speed.
keeping the weight right here.
Keep the weight is still on the right side, but so you have a well straightened the right side here with this push, but you need to have a slight reverse pivot alignment.
Okay.
Yeah, that motion, that range. So when you look down, then the thorax axis is leaning away, then eventually it goes slightly toward the target here. That range is correlated to caliber
And I
speed.
don't ever get it there.
Yeah, you're always leaning away. This is part of the reason why you have outward swing plane. You're leaning away, then it's easy to swing into out.
It's got to
Yeah, Scott has a bit exaggerated body turn. And then, so if you look at this posture here, you're turning a lot here,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the wrist motion is not much.
Yeah.
So instead, a bit less turn, the arms can go this way, but actually keep more wrist.
So I could actually get faster by doing a lot less
Sure.
effort.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in order to reduce this range of motion, then you have to have active deceleration. So have rhythmic motion.
Yeah.
And then when you have fast backswing and then rhythmic motion, then it will automatically limit the turn.
Yeah.
And then also keep more wrist motion here. And also for the wrist here, it's not really wrist motion here, but you need to use this forearm motion a lot here. This is called pronation, supination here. You need to use this motion well. Then you will have a good amount of wrist motion.
Right.
This is the X factor. X factor. X factor means the separation between the shoulders and the hips. Torsional separation here. So the X factor is 0 here, the blue line here, because the hips and shoulders are pretty much parallel to each other. So there's no angle here. So it's 0. But then the shoulder turns more, so it shows X shape. And then separation starts here. And then your separation is completed here. This is a lot of turn.
Where's
A lot
the
of
pelvis turn?
pelvis is here.
Oh, that one. Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of turn. This is elite man's average maximum. You surpass this because you're turning quite a bit here. But then this trend slows down here. The slope changes. That means initially you have this fast increase in the X factor, but then toward the end of the backswing, this slows down here.
So it should just go up and then straight down.
It should be just a continuous increase all the way to top of backswing and coming down like this.
Yeah, not that.
Not this and then two-stage motion here. That means you have excessive separation here.
Yeah.
Then after that, you lose that effect.
And that makes it non-rhythmic.
So you lose that effect here. So then between 5 and 6 is quite close to each other, and the slope is almost flat here. That means during the transition phase, you don't have any increase in the X factor. Then what happens is after that,
So I might as well just start from here, basically.
Yeah.
My backswing.
Yeah.
so here now, this is top of backswing here, right? And then from here to here, X factor further increases. Why? Your pelvis is turning faster than the shoulders.
Oh, really?
And this is called X factor stretch, but particularly this is the downswing stretch. So X factor further increases. It's called X factor stretch, but this is happening during the downswing because it's after the top of backswing. So in order to increase that separation, what should happen is your pelvis is opening faster than the shoulders. Then you can increase the X factor. But this is not a good idea. Instead, have a sufficient separation during the backswing using the active deceleration here and then enough separation. Then all you do is let it go instead of sliding here. So in order to create that downswing stretch, after top of backswing, you want to increase the X factor further, then your pelvis has to slide and then open early.
I got you.
And particularly when your upper body is leaning away, then it's easy to do that.
Right.
But you don't need to do that. Actually, that's the sign of a poor, not so active backswing.
Yeah.
And in the golf community, this is misunderstood. So people intentionally try to increase this.
But he jumps very high. Like he has very good jump.
Yeah, have we looked at the ground foot? No, we looked at the
Later we'll look at that. So the X factor increase during the transition phase. This is called the backswing stretch. Still, it's a backswing, and then you are increasing the X factor. So the increase from 5 to 6, this is backswing stretch. The increase from 6 to a maximum here, that's called the downswing stretch. But you need to have more backswing stretch than the downswing stretch.
Yeah.
Now, kinematic sequence here. And here your transition is all clustered. almost transitioning at the same time.
Whoa.
Because your backswing is slow. Slow, and you go to this position, and then try to go down at once. So everything is clustered,
Oh, they should be separated.
separated. So first, the transition phase should be elongated here, and then within this period, you have sequential transitions. But because this is short, everything is clustered. So the most important sequence in golf swing is actually the transition sequence. This one here, what's happening here.
A lot.
And then in the backswing also what should happen is, now if you look at the red line is the pelvis angular velocity, pelvis rotational velocity. It increases, and then it reaches peak value here, about here, and then it starts decreasing here, right? So in the backswing direction, this is acceleration and then deceleration here.
Right.
Then the shoulder, the thorax, the chest here, it peaks here. The shoulders, peaks here. This is the arms, and this is the club here. You need to have this peak a bit later. So instead of having early motion like this, okay, initially it can go a bit slower, but then have more emphasis toward the end of the backswing here.
Right.
Put effort here.
Yeah.
Instead of a quick early action, then try to go all the way here.
Makes sense.
So when the peaks occur early here, that means you have an early action, but then from that point, all you have is just a slow down. But when these are delayed, then you have a faster slowdown here, more active deceleration here. And then, so this is the transition phase, and as you can see, everything is transitioning at the same time. That means you are putting a lot of effort when you hit the ball, because you're not taking advantage of the stretchy shortening cycle. Then you just to go here and try to put a lot of effort and try to hit hard. And then when you have to play for, let's say, 4 consecutive days, then that may not be a good idea. Yeah. So you need to use your muscles more efficiently, so that you don't activate the muscles like crazy, but still your muscles can generate good amount of force. For that, you need to have a good stretchy shortening cycle. That means you have the rhythmic motion. And then this pink line is the wrist angular velocity. Wrist angular velocity. Interestingly, it stays negative. That means it's a cocking. When this pink line is below the horizontal axis here, that means it's cocking. So cocking angular velocity increases all the way here, and then it starts decreasing here. But then it goes positive. This means uncocking. You are starting uncocking early here. It's because you don't have that much wrist cock in the first place here. And then initial action is a slight uncocking,
And you're cocking again.
and then followed by recocking here. So this is coming from the shallowing motion. But the better choice is you don't even go to this uncocking here. Okay? So stay down here. Stay down here, further cocking, and then going up here. Then that's the true delayed release. But still you have delayed release here. So that's the advantage. However, you are not using the wrist enough. So what happens is, so this is the angular velocity of the club. Your club angular velocity is the same to man's average here. But your wrist angular velocity way below that. So you have to use your whole body a lot, swing like a crazy to,
Why you're,
rotate the club.
like we talked about it, like Sky Sheffield, for example, he's very like this in impact, like you see this space here, but you're,
You can't see my left arm.
no.
Because you're already, from the beginning, you don't have that much wrist cock, and then try to swing this hard with the body. But when you have good wrist cock here, then you're adding this wrist motion. With that, when you use the pronation supination really well here, then you can increase the wrist angular velocity more, then this also goes higher here. But currently you are generating enough club angular velocity using the whole body, but you're not using the wrist that efficiently here or effectively. It's because you don't have much wrist cut to start with, right? So that's what I see. And then since the 7 and 8 are happening almost at the same time here, you're letting the club, you keep the club away from your body. Now, I don't know what your major is, but if you take a kinesiology course, one of them is biomechanics. That's what I teach. But there's a concept called the moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is it is determined by the mass distribution in the body relative to the axis rotation. Yeah. So when we turn this way here, the axis rotation is passing through the center of mass here, and then it's going like this. So that this is a swing plane here. So when we turn around this axis, then we mainly rotate on the swing plane here. So this is the axis rotation passing through the center of mass. And then when you have a club away from the axis here, because you don't have that much wrist cock here, then the moment of inertia increases. When the moment of inertia increases, then it's more difficult to generate the rotational acceleration. With the same amount of effort, if you have a larger moment of inertia, you will end up with a smaller rotational acceleration. Yeah. But if you keep the club closer to the body, okay? If you keep the club closer to the body, moment of inertia is a lot smaller. Then with the same effort, you can generate faster rotation of the body. Okay. Then later let it go, instead of going around like this.
I see.
Have you seen Jose Luis Balester? He has very his leg is he's. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I don't know.
So if you use wrist too much, then it becomes a wrist dominant swing.
Right.
Then you lose, you use the body less. So you have a good combination of body initiated motion, but at the same time you have to also utilize the wrist quite well here. Then you have a lot more room for increase in the wrist angular velocity here. When this increases, then club angular velocity increases.
Like he has the club very close to
In this case, what happens is before this motion is completed, he's already starting this. That motion is not good. It can generate the delayed release. However, the body action and the arm and the club action, these are not timed that well. So the best is using the momentum here, let it go around and then wait a bit more here. Then when you are ready, then in one action, let it go. Instead of, but Martin, you have a lot more room for club speed if you use the wrist more actively. Yeah. So for that, you have to develop more rhythmic motion.
Mm-hmm. Will he gain accuracy from it?
When the body is moving actively, it actually makes the swing motion simpler. It eliminates all the unnecessary movements. Yeah. When you try to put a lot of effort with the muscles here, it actually complicates the motion. So what I see is that I use the simulator oftentimes for relatively skilled golfers. I use the simulator for the reprogramming sessions. Yeah. When I ask them to increase the backswing speed, so in other words, have a faster backswing, interestingly, the distance increases, the direction control improves. Right. So oftentimes the misunderstanding is that when you have a faster backswing, then you have unstable finish here, so that it affects the direction control detrimentally, but actually it's not. When you have rhythmic motion, like when you do a bowling, just back here and then throw. When you fish, you will cast the pole, right? You control the hook motion by using this and then throw. Then you can accurately throw the hook to the target because you have this connection, the tension. Because of tension in the string, you can control the motion of the hook.
Like my golf swing fishing would be like I'd take it back and then I throw it. It's like I don't get it.
Yeah, so you just here, you just go here and then try to do this instead of and then throw.
Because they ain't loose at all.
So when you have this continuous motion here, you also have better sensory input here. Your body tells you where your body parts are,
Right.
and then which direction you have to move. So actually, it improves the traction control. So this one is quite obvious that you need to have a more active action in the later part of backswing here. And with that, you can shorten this backswing time by speeding up the backswing. And then this will automatically elongate the transition phase. You have a more sequential transition.
Right.
Yeah. And then also you'll be able to have a true delayed release here with a sufficient amount of wrist cock here.
Wow, yeah.
So don't try to hold it here. Let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. Because in this motion, all in all, what matters is the end point motion here. We are moving this club here and then hit the ball here. It's not about how much your body turns here. Ultimately, we need to move the club head to hit the ball, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the focus should be on the club head here. And then let's see how you interact with the ground here. So in the backswing, initially when you start, you have a good push here, not good push, but more push from the trail side here, right?
Right to left.
This right foot here. The green is the left one. So you have a more loading on the right side. However, this is so the total force. The red line shows the total force, but this is close to body weight here. So in other words, you're just simply redistributing the weight. So you have a bit more weight on the right side, but this gap should increase. So you have to have a lot more force on the trail side here.
Right.
But the reason why you are having this motion is that let me run this continuously here. So look at this, your initial motion. If you look at this stick figure here, this is spinning motion. Your body is spinning. Just spinning here.
Right.
Instead of having more active
Yeah.
right leg action this way here. You need to have a good lateral interaction with the ground.
Okay.
So in this one, you're not using the lateral interaction that much. Simply pushing the ground this way. With that, you are just turning this way here. It's a spinning motion here. It's easy to start with the spinning,
Right.
but then you cannot use the ground.
Yeah.
So this action here, push here. Then what happens is this force becomes bigger. Okay, and then this becomes a lot smaller.
Okay.
But still, when you add these two, then this one here goes above the body weight line here.
Yeah.
So you just have a net push. And then in the vertical direction, we always interact with the ground by pushing harder and then pushing less. When you just stand, then the ground reaction force is equal to your body weight.
Right.
But you can push harder. It's called active push. But then after that, you have this so-called unweighting phase. Unweighting means you're not pushing as much as your body weight.
Yeah, it's like jumping.
Yeah.
So when you have up and down motion here, then always we are interacting with the ground with the push and the unweighting. It repeats. So here, when we have a little bit of unweighting, a push here, after that we have unweighting. When we have good unweighting, then we have good push here. So always, to push the ground hard, then you must have unweighting before that, so that drop the body enough and then try to push, right? So that's the vertical interaction. But in this case, up to this point here, if you look at the ground reaction force, it's all upright. It's because the horizontal forces are canceled out. But in your case, you don't have that many horizontal forces, or that much horizontal force. Or this force is acting inward, this force is acting inward here. They are in the opposite direction, so they cancel each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, then it's almost upright here. The total force is almost upright. These two are the individual forces acting on your feet.
So
This is the combined force.
So I'm just going up and down.
So you don't have a net horizontal force here. And then this continues for a while up to this point here. This is end of pelvis rotation. Still the force is upright. And then even at the top of backswing, still the force is upright because your main is spinning around. And particularly in this case, at the top of backswing, you have a similar amount of force acting on both here. But still, in theory, if you are using the ground really well, then still at this point, at the top of backswing, you should have a lot more force acting on the trail side. This force should be a lot greater.
Yeah.
So this center pressure should stay closer to the trail side.
Wow.
And then the force will incline like this. So when you, in order to interact with the ground well, then you must have this horizontal interaction.
Right.
So your body has to move in the horizontal direction here. But this is okay because we have wide stance here. Within the wide stance, you can move laterally, right? So with this action, you are actually pushing the ground in the lateral direction. Particularly at the beginning of the backswing, you are moving away, but then soon by pushing that way, you are reversing the direction and then start moving this way here. With that, you have a large horizontal force going this way. Then the force arrow inclines like this. So the center pressure should still stay here. The force goes more like this.
Because you're going that way, going like that.
So you have this motion here. But in your case, because your backswing is slow, mostly what you do is just spinning around all the way here.
Yeah.
So you need to have a more stepping-like action.
Yeah. Like
Push,
that
push,
way, so
yeah,
you're
push,
moving
push, push, taking turns. So then, still at the top of backswing here, the force arrow is almost upright here. And then the lower graph is something called the moment arm here, or lever arm. This shows the separation between the force arrow and the red dot, center of mass here. Center of mass is center of rotation.
Yeah.
Imagine you use a wrench, try to rotate something. Then here's the center of the rotation, right? You're holding here and then pull like this. So imagine that your hand is located here. So you have imaginary wrench running this way. Your hand is holding the wrench about here. So when your hand is close to the center, it's hard to rotate.
Right.
But when your hand is way away from it, it's easy to rotate. When you have a flat tire on the road, then you'll have to use your wrench to pull up your car, right?
Yeah.
So then when you use wrench, you try to hold the far end of the wrench and then try to do this because we have a long moment time here.
What's the moment on here? It's
So in this one here, this line is the along which the force.
yeah, the distance from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
line to the bottom.
Yeah, this is the along which the force is acting, right?
Yeah.
This is the center of
I
rotation.
thought that was the same as torque.
So the moment arm times this force magnitude that gives torque here.
Oh, okay.
So torque is the cause of rotational acceleration. So if you want to generate fast rotation, then you need a large torque. But for that, either you should have a large force or long momentum.
I have a buddy that's, he's probably 5'7" maybe, weighs probably 100 pounds, 110. He swings at 118, and he has a 45% body weight torque. So that makes sense.
So then the easier way to generate torque is instead of putting a lot of effort, your force can be still small, but if you elongate your momentum, then with a small effort, still you can generate large torque, right? But for that, you have to increase this separation here. This separation here. You have to increase the momentum. For that, the force has to incline like this. Then you have a long momentum.
So how do you do that? How do you make more separation?
You need to generate the horizontal force here.
Horizontal.
When the force has horizontal component, then this arrow will incline.
Gotcha.
Then the momentum becomes longer. But in your case, because you're just spinning around with a slow motion and then try to generate a large range of motion of the body here, just to try to spinning around, that's why the force always stays vertical. It stays close to the center of mass. So more than anything, you have to incline this force arrow here and then increase the momentum. When the momentum increases, then this goes up, then the torque becomes larger. So this is at the beginning of the downswing, but still your moment time is less than half of elite man's average. So this is where you lack. This is something you need to work on.
Right.
And then the torque at the beginning of the downswing still is here. This is elite man's average maximum, but you're down here. Later, the torque, the moment time increases here. This is the longest moment time here now, because now it's inclining a little bit, and also it's moving away from the center of mass. So you have the longest moment time here. With that, the torque increases rapidly here. But from here to here, what happens is the torque goes up and then quickly coming down here, instead of maintaining that.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of push here. This vertical, this is the total force you're generating here. This is above elite man's average, but this is not well translated to a rotational motion.
Yeah.
You're just generating this large force. You are pushing the ground hard so that your body will move up quite a bit. However, it's not helping you to turn. So this is almost jumping. This will give almost a jumping here. Then after that, you have a lot of unweighting here. So this is excessive. So toward the impact, you see, your body is almost jumping, so you don't have that much interaction with the ground.
Yeah.
So you're putting a lot of effort here, but this is not well translated to rotational motion. And also, this is too much, so at impact, you're almost losing the interaction with the ground here. Instead of almost jumping and try to swing here, rather swing through and then stand on the lead side here.
Okay.
So go here, active backswing from here, swing through and then stand instead of.
Yeah, so
That's more
I'm
like
just staying right here, and I need to be getting like here.
So
It's more like a push, like you're pushing that away. Or what's the?
you don't have to intentionally try to do that. So when you have an intention of turning, go this way, then automatically, as you turn this way, the hip has to go backward. So you are pushing the ground well to create this turn.
So that like that arrow in the middle, we want it like facing that way, and then facing that way.
So force always acts inward like this.
Yeah.
So when you are using the right leg well, then the force acts this way. So this force will prevent your body going too far, because the force is acting this way. When your body wants to go that way, if the force acts this way, it will slow down this motion, eventually change the direction, right? When you are pushing this side here, then the force goes this way here. So always the force is acting like this to keep your body within this space here.
Gotcha.
So you don't go too far.
Yeah.
So just image this triangular space here. So if you have a full body mirror in front of you, then put two tapes here and create this triangular space. And inside, you can have active motion here. But your head is not moving that much. But your pelvis can move a lot more and active interaction with the ground. This is okay because we have a wide stance. So because of this stance in the lateral direction, you have a lot more room for
But
motion.
shorter stance and like shorter cups would be more rotation, right?
I see.
So when you have a reasonably wide stance here, that means you have more room for motion this way. But with this, if you just spin, then you are not using the stance.
You understand?
Makes sense to you?
So, and then this force is too much here. So even at this point here, at the top of vacuum, still you have to maintain reasonable difference between the force. So you should have more force acting on the trail side than the lead side here. At this point, let me show you something here, a different pattern here, which will probably inspire you quite a bit. This is Grant Waite.
Oh yeah, Macrogradis.
He tried different things. But this is his 2015 swing. And here you will see a very different pattern here. So now, As you can see here, his peak clever speed is happening toward the later part of the backswing here, right? And he also generates good speed here, 114. Okay, good speed here. If you look at the top view here, the swing plane and the hand motion plane, these are fairly well aligned to each other, almost toward the target here.
Yeah.
This is along the swing plane here. So the club head goes above the swing plane and they have good looping motion. And then particularly around the top of it, you see this shallowing motion here. By using this high pad and then coming down, you are going through the top of backswing. So early part of the downswing, the club head is quickly moving toward the swing plane here. This is natural shallowing motion here. And then swing through. Now,
He's arguably one of the best ones ever.
the pelvis motion here. And then, let's go to the X factor here. So his X factor, it keeps increasing all the way. It's close to a man's average here. But in your case, you go way above, but you have two-stage separation. But in his case, it's a continuous separation, and then maximum occurs at top of backswing, then it starts decreasing right away. And then kinematic sequence, this you will be impressed. Look at this. So the peak pelvis angular velocity happens almost at the center of the backswing here, middle of the backswing here. And then the thorax, shoulders, and then this is the arms. This is the club here. So these are happening more later.
Yeah.
And then look at the transition phase here. It's a long and then well-defined sequential transition here. And then his wrist stays in the negative side here. So it keeps showing cocking all the way here. And then now he starts uncocking here.
And then he gets above the line.
And then his wrist angular velocity is above the man's average. So his club angular velocity is above the average here.
Wow.
So he starts uncocking. Is that this or here? What is that uncocking? The rise?
No, when the pink line is below the horizontal axis, it's all cocking.
Oh, it's cocking.
Still it's cocking.
Okay.
Although cocking speed decreases here, and then suddenly cocking speed increases here when the downswing starts. And it's because of the shallowing end followed by the wrist action here. And then his uncocking actually starts about here. And then you see where the club is. And then between 7 and 8, this is 7, this is 8, he has a wider gap here. Because he's keeping the club closer to the body at 7 when the lead arm is parallel to the ground. And then, so he uses his wrist quite well here, right? And then if you go to the way he uses the ground, now, at this point, around here, when the club is almost parallel to the ground, he has more difference here, right? And then also, this is above the one body weight here. He has good push, and then continuous unrating. The unrating peak occurs at the top of action here. Still, you see this gap here, so the difference between the two forces. More importantly, at this point, yeah, if you look at the arrow, this is top of action. See this arrow here. Still, the center of pressure is located close to the trail side, and then it shows good inclination here. Yeah. With that, he has a wide gap here, so moment time becomes the longest here. With this moment time, he's generating this much torque at the beginning of the downswing already. But his force is still way below the body weight here. So instead of using the force, he's taking advantage of this long moment arm to generate this much torque from the beginning of the downswing. So that means at the beginning of downswing, he already has a large torque acting on his body. Using that, he can do an early acceleration of the body.
Can I show him the swing?
I don't know which year that is, but this is from 2015.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, he tried different things.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good golf swing right there.
And then, so from here to, this is the E7 when the lead arm is parallel to the ground. And then this is the E8 when the club becomes vertical here. He maintains a good amount of torque here. So he can generate faster rotation early on. Now, this is his peak force. It's under 2 times the body weight. So this is not too big, although it's above the man's average, but it's not too big. So you don't need to push this hard. Okay? And then at impact, he doesn't have this unweighting here. Still, the force here is above the body weight here. So no need to jump off.
Okay.
Yeah. So because if we run his swing motion here, he's more turning around instead of jumping. Right? So this will give you an interesting comparison here. So in your case, you need to speed up your backswing first. And then with that, you will be able to shorten the backswing automatically. Because when you have fast motion, you have to slow this down. So you will start the slow down early. With that, you can limit the shoulder turn, but then let the club go. Because the main motion is the club head motion around, right? So from there, when you have active rhythmic motion and then throw, and in the downswing, you have to have more body turn and then letting it go, swing through instead of try to pull this down and then body jump up. Sometimes you get the wrong impression or image on TV because you have so many bad examples on TV. So this is grants. And then now let's go to Vincent's here. And then particularly this is nice because you two have different patterns and you will be able to see the differences and the similarities and you can help each other. I like that. So I always like group sessions. Vincent's swing pattern is better in terms of these here. And he has more rhythmic motion. While you guys swinging, I was taking your pictures, right? With the Vincent, I could take a good pictures right away because I could see his body rhythm. Right. Then I can find the right timing. Yeah. But because your backswing is kind of slow here, then I didn't know when to hit the button here. So now, your average speed came out as a 118. This is good, but considering your body size, this is, and then for your body size, it goes a bit low here, but still is above average, okay, because you're tall. And then swing time is less than 1,000 here. So this is men's average, but it's shorter. Okay? So this is good. Yeah, faster backswing is always good. And then he has large enough backswing. And then between 7 and 8, separation here. Between 5 and 6, a lot more separation here. Then he has a lot longer transition phase. It's because of the active backswing. Top view here. So the club head path is slightly inward. And then the hand motion plane is kind of neutral toward the target. And this angle is about 1.5 degrees inward, which is not too bad. And then let's see at impact. The blue arrow shows the direction of the club head motion. So in this one, it shows the club head is moving slightly inward here. Okay? Then you have to use a bit of fade spin. But this is a reasonable alignment here. Swing plane. This gives a lot better shallowing pattern here. So from here, the club head, in your case, initially the club head was moving up quite a bit and then start moving. But in his case, it's just starting from here and then gradually going above the swing plane here. And then this good looping motion here, and then through the top of backswing, the club head is dropping toward the swing plane. And then, so from here to here, you see quick motion of the club head toward the swing plane. Look at this here. This is good shallowing motion. So the club head quickly comes to the swing plane early on. From this point on, good planar motion all the way here. And then in the follow through, the club head goes above the swing plane nicely here. So this deviation are reasonably balanced here. Okay? So this is good shallowing pattern. Now, let's go to the pelvis motion here. The rotation, pelvis tends to rotate a bit more than man's average here. But what I see here is a slight two-stage motion in terms of pelvis rotation. So you have a quick rotation up to this point, and then the speed decreases a little bit here, and then up to this point. But between 5 and 6, this is the transition phase, long transition phase here. So pelvis transition occurs here. So pelvis changes direction of rotation at this point. The club changes direction of rotation at this point. So he has a long transition phase here. This is good.
Is that what I'm showing?
The shallowing is good, and then you have a long transition phase. So when we go to the kinematic sequence pattern here, you have a lot longer transition phase. So these are reasonably separated here. Although here the chest and the shoulders are transitioning together, and then so the pelvis way ahead here, and then the thorax and the shoulders, and then here's the arms, and then here's the club here.
Wait, so isn't thorax shoulders same or?
No, thorax plus the shoulder girdle motion here. That's the
Oh.
shoulder motion.
Oh, so because I've always been kind of steep, like you saw my swing plane is left. Is that why it's left? Because this is the same.
So
If I'm keeping this.
what you can do is you can probably work on utilizing this shoulder girdle mobility there. But for the moment, you have long enough elongated transition phase, which is good. So I don't think you need to change anything. Okay? So don't worry about it. And then go up here, coming down. Now look at the motion here. So this is the top here. Still, this is a bit over rotation here. You don't have to rotate this much. But the club crosses the horizontal line here. And then after that, on the way down here, you can also keep the club a bit closer to the body here. Because as you can see, your wrist angular velocity is not enough here. Yeah. And this is something you need to work on. And then if you let the club go a bit more, no need to hold it here. Yeah. So sometimes when you practice, if you relax your wrist a little bit, then you can feel the motion of the end point. Okay. So with that, let it go a bit more, enough, and then come down. So, but the overall the transition sequence is a lot better here. You also have a tendency of unweighting here, near the impact here.
Of what was the tension?
So let's go to the force here. You also have a good push here. And then after that, the force goes below the body weight. So at impact, the force is actually less than the body weight here. So you have a tendency of, you also have a slight jumping
you
like
don't
it.
want it to go under.
No. So if you just turn around the lead leg and then swing through here and standing on this, no need to jump. No need to have almost jumping action. Part of the reason why you have a jumping like action is because you are using the upper body quite a bit on the way down. Try to drive everything with the upper body here, and then you try to kick the ground here. But if you use the body action here and then throw and then turn around here, you don't have to do that. Okay? But the transition is a lot better. Now, also look at the, let's go back to pelvis here. And then, did you see X factor? X factor here, continuous increase in X factor, and then 5 and 6, the X factor decreases, or the slope is decreasing here,
Okay.
is because you also tendency of initial action here and then just let it go slowly like this. Instead, have this image here. When you do the backswing, have more effort toward the end of the backswing. So here, creating good separation here. It doesn't have to be too much turn here, but rather the muscle should be loaded here. So have initially a bit slow motion is okay, but active separation here, coiling here. Using the body muscles, let it go. Then with this, swing and then stand on the leader side here. Instead of go up here, turn this all the way and then try to hit.
Okay.
Then it's upper body driven here. So if you look at your body posture, when you finish, so when the club goes vertical here, you see how much you turn here. This also puts a lot of burden on the spine here when you turn too much here. So what should happen is, using good acceleration here, and then keep the club close to your body here, and then when you let it go, you don't have to turn the body this much here.
So I can do more. It's more effort up here.
More,
Transition.
more wrist and let it go.
So it's more like. Is it more here when I'm turning?
So just a second. Let me bring a tool. It should be in the other room here. So if you use something like here, and then if you relax your wrist a little bit, currently both of you have the pattern of a lot of turn here. Essentially, you're dragging this all the way here. Try to swing this way here. But instead, from this good amount of wrist cock here, how about this one?
Yeah.
So your body is turning here.
Yeah.
No need to jump. But if you try to turn a lot here,
Creating a lot of
Tension.
the upper body is
for air.
driving everything. So then all you do is have create good wrist cock at the top here, and the shallowing motion here, delay the release, and from here, let it go.
Who's a good swing that does that?
The Grant Wade's swing is pretty good. He uses this reasonable here. So for that, you need to use this pronation, supination motion here.
Oh, this.
Yeah, because
When does that happen? Though? That's on the backswing, right?
so from here in the backswing you have a supination here.
When you got hold it.
Then you can bring the club head down more. Okay, so for here and then on the way down, when you're shallow, you have to delay the release, right? So automatically you have a delayed release here, and then when this is coming slightly behind here, you have this motion here, this motion here. This motion is added here, and
So a lot of
then
people
let it go.
think that's flipping. Like,
Flipping is more like this. Go here and then. But
that's just a normal
here,
release.
when the hands are coming reasonably close to your body here, then you have a natural motion here, like this. And when this happens, you can let the club go here. Your body turns this way here instead of.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot do that. So you need to use your wrist a bit more here. And then if you look at the range of motion allowed it, so this is called the ulnar deviation and the radial deviation. You have this much range of motion here. Slide over 90 degrees, let's say. And then you can have this motion here. So this is coming from palmar flexion, dorsiflexion here. Now when you use this pronation supination, almost the 360 degrees here. So this motion gives a lot of range of motion. So in order to move the club head faster around, there's no reason not to use this motion. Actually, this gives more comfortable motion here. And you can use your wrist more actively. It's not just wrist, but it's actually forearm. So let it go, swing through. But if you don't use this much, then you have to have exaggerated body motion. That's why turn this much and then club, the hands goes high. And then so Vincent's advantage is that he has a lot longer transition phase. So in terms of transition, outside the door, yeah. So you have more sequential transition here, and also delayed release here. But again, instead of using the upper body line, the turning this much here, the head is down here, the hands are going higher up here. Instead of this motion here, then you can increase the wrist angular velocity too. Okay? So that's what I see here. And in the frontal plane here, your pattern is better than Martin's here. So in the backswing, you have overall active push here, which goes above the body weight here. And you have this separation. Now arrived. Oh, the door sound was from you.
I was like knocking on your research lab. I was like, there's no one there.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Is there your delayed lunch?
Yeah. Is it okay?
No, it's okay. Yeah. Now, after that, so from here you have unweighting here, continuous unweighting all the way here. This is good. But again, this is a bit too much turn, and then you can actually have a bit less turn but more wrist cock here. So you need to increase the wrist motion. Okay? But here, still at this point, now, Martin, look at this. At top of backswing, his center pressure still located close to the right foot. You see this inclination here. So when you look at this continuous motion here, coming down here, go up and then coming down. So the motion is faster and it's more rhythmic. I can tell easily when I take pictures. I can easily figure that, oh, this is more rhythmic, then I can find the right timing. So then good unweighting. This is maximum unweighting, and then he has the longest moment time here. Good moment time here. Then at the beginning of the downswing already, his torque is close to elite man's average maximum here. So he's starting with a good amount of torque at the beginning. Then it's advantageous in terms of early acceleration of the body. However, he is quickly losing that effect from here. Now this is decreasing rapidly here. Why?
Because I'm jumping.
Yeah, you keep doing this and then kind of jumping here, instead of using the lead leg, pushing the ground and then turning around. So on the way down, if you just learn how to let it go, how to let the wrist go here, and using the wrist a bit more, then your swing becomes a lot easier first. You don't have to put that much effort. Okay? And then also you can generate more speed with the added wrist motion here. So this pronation, supination motion is really important. This gives a good amount of motion here at the wrist. And these muscles are a bit bigger than these here.
Yeah.
So it's also safer. When you use this a lot, then you develop wrist pain. But when you let it go through, so using the pronation supination motion, it puts a less burden on the wrist too. So this is what I see here. So then for Martin, you need to overall generate good rhythmic motion. And Vincent, in your case, in the downswing, toward the end of the downswing, instead of keep driving with the upper body, try to really release it here. And your club number is a bit higher than Martin's. Could be because you are stronger than him, but so yours is a bit heavier. Yours is heavier. See if the club is not too heavy. When the club is a bit heavy, then you tend to drag the club instead of releasing it.
The club, like the club, I hope. Yeah. Too heavy?
I don't know whether it's too heavy.
Okay. But
So you have to make the decision. But sometimes when the club is a bit too heavy, then tend to drag it, particularly junior players. When they're not strong enough, but they use a longer or heavier club, then all they can do is just drag it instead of releasing it. So these are the things we see in the patterns. So yeah. So in Vincent's case, the center of mass is moving upward quite a bit here using the right leg here. This is good right leg push here. And then unweighting, and then after that you have left leg push. But the only thing here is, the one thing I see here is that, so around here, the center pressure should go more to the lead foot here. But this is, the area you need to work on here. Up to this point, it's really good. Coming, it's really good. But finally, in the downswing, you have to push the ground well with the lead leg so that the center pressure shifts to the lead leg enough. Then at this stage here, when the lead arm is paired to the ground, this should be more here, and then it should be vertical here.
it's probably because of the.
But this is still close to the center of the stance here, and it's slightly inclined toward the target here. But at this stage here, you should have a good push from the lead side here instead of trying to jump.
Yeah.
So in the backswing, you have a good trail side push here, and then when you go to downswing, you have a good lead side push and then turn around instead of.
Pushing out.
We've been rehab. He's been kind of dealing with some like patellofemoral pain stuff. He had some injury over the summer, which I think was probably from some of like his lifting he used to do. And so we're trying to get him a little bit more stable before he's put under too much.
Is it on the left side?
Yes, and so we're just wondering.
That makes sense.
So yeah, usually when you have problem, then you don't want to load on that side. But I have the same problem. I have a weak ankle here,
Oh, you do?
so I don't want to load onto this side.
No, yeah. No, you avoid it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so when you work on the knee, and eventually you'll be able to load on the lead side more, then the later part of the downswing will be also really good here. So, you need to watch the videos together, your pattern and then Vincent's pattern here.
Can you show Izzy my ground force arrows?
helpful makes sense.
Look at this.
I mean, I think I knew for him he'd be refining, but like I knew that Vincent had been a little bit exposed to some of this, but like Martin hasn't. And I really think if Martin can like refine this, like it would be a game changer for both his accuracy and his speed.
Probably more.
So here, as we talked about, all the way here, pretty much your force arrow is vertical here because mainly you are spinning around, right?
Yeah.
And then in the downswing here,
Yeah.
here you have a good shift to the lead side here, and that the force is vertical. This is what Vincent needs. And after that, you just jump.
Yeah. Yeah. So and that's what when I filmed him, that's what I saw. But it's really difficult, obviously, if you don't have any of the data to like I had no way to really like prove that or convince him. Yeah, because I know the way that they are about their golf swings. So like they have to be able to see it to this level before things kind of can change. And that's for your mind, not just me saying it, but for you to see it. I mean, yeah, I I think whatever drills like
Yeah, the first thing you need to get away from this is using this large range of motion. You are relying on the range of motion too much, but limited wrist motion here. So it,
I'm a little worried about his back if he continues to swing that way. That's what happened with Sam. Sam used to swing
Yeah.
that way. Before his back injury. Now,
so the spine, you have an intervertebral disc here, and then the vertebrae here. So they mainly turn this way here. But when you have an active rhythmic motion, then muscles are protecting this. So before you reach the end of the range of motion, they already start developing braking force so that it slows down the motion. But when you have too much motion here, you're hitting the end of the range of motion. And then when this turns quite a bit, it crushes the disc.
So I need less shoulder turn, more wrist,
More rhythmic motion here.
and then more
Yeah.
horizontal.
You need to have a little bit of stepping, and you need to take a dance class.
like the step drill. Yeah, he's a little, his pelvis isn't very like, I try to let them move the pelvis. They make fun of me if they come into class and they're moving the pelvis.
It's just a matter of feeling that motion pattern once.
Yeah.
Once you, aha, then it's easy because you know what to do. So it's just a matter of experiencing, better movement pattern.
Right.
So it's really easy with this stick, and you can do the so-called step swing.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, I think that they're both in a period of time where, like, if they have some drills over the break, we're kind of transitioning out of their like strength phase for their off season. So the goal is kind of for them to still maintain their strength, but now to get a little bit more training into proper ways to train speed. So that
Vincent, for you, at the end of the downswing, try not to turn too much. Currently, you are turning quite a bit here, and then the hands are going high up here.
Yeah.
That puts a lot of burden on the body. So, in the downswing, you throw this and then try to turn this way here, so that you let it go and swing through instead of doing this here. Oh, I cannot do that. That puts a lot of burden on the spine.
yeah.
And for that, you need this motion here. Let it go this way. So supination of the left forearm here. That way, swing through and then turn this way here instead of.
What's tough, like just from what I've seen for your swing specifically, Martin, like I know you feel like me now, but like I think you lose a lot of power is one for the performance part of it, but two, it's for like you doing that over and over and over again. You can now. So like as you play more golf, and if you want to play golf at a higher level, that's going to really start to impact your spine. And versus like unfortunately with Sam, like I wasn't able to give him this beforehand, and he is good now, but like it took him a year to change the way he swung for his back, and he used to swing exactly that way. So I think that and it's not just for that though. It's like really when it comes to like really your speed, like when you learn that, it's going to be way less effort.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And your accuracy, I think, is also going to dramatically change. Like, would you agree with that? Just because of the way that you're actually directing your energy and using your body, right?
So currently, almost like the way I see it is you're putting too much effort in hitting hard,
Swing hard. Right?
but you have to throw it here and then to the direction you intend. You're throwing the club head to that direction, so impact the ball is going that way.
That's great.
But this is actually a good timing here. So now, when you're aware of all this, then you will be able to have a more focused practice, and then gradually change your swing pattern. Okay, but most cases you have no idea. So you just keep doing the same thing again and again. Sometimes, if your coach says, the coach gives you a wrong direction, then you just keep, without thinking, you keep going that way.
The only thing I really like, I'm telling, like, why this I feel like I was so happy when Vincent brought this up is because, like, at the end of the day, if your body doesn't move well, then when your coach tells you to do something, then you'll find ways to get an outcome. But it doesn't mean your body is actually doing that the right way. or sequencing well. When you get this well with your body, then you can make the other minor tweaks as you need to. But like, if this is not strong, from the little knowledge I have, and from even kind of when I went to go with TPI, right, like all the players, right, that are at the highest level, who are sponsored, right, they can get these analyses, but like all those players have spent time, most of them, I'm not saying all on tour, but most of them that are making a lot of money, like have a very good pattern in how they use the ground, because like at the end of the day, when everyone's really good, like the way that you use the ground allows your body to efficiently move the club with like you using the natural energy of physics in the body, right? But for a lot of people, they don't, like they may never have ability to do this, or they don't do it until they're either injured or they're at a level where now they're like, okay, I need to swing, I need like 10 more or like 10 more miles per hour in the left.